This is ASMR Classic. Well, actually, I think ASMR Classic 1 here. And I hope you're well. You probably realise, if you've been here for a while, that part of the reason that I'm doing this, well, there's two reasons. One, I tend to relax every night with ASMR anyway. I discovered it when I had COVID, so there is some sort of goodness in things evil, as William Shakespeare wrote. And the other is that we're trying to get to 1,000 followers so that we can monetize the channel. I think that's how it works anyway. And we can start to write some original work, dramas if you like, that is designed to be used as ASMR, if that makes sense. So if you haven't subscribed yet, perhaps you could press the little button wherever it is down here. Here, is it? You know, that would be lovely. And if you've been here before, thank you very much indeed. I spent a week in Wales and a bit of time writing a new novel, so I've been a bit remiss here. But I shall move my Royal Shakespeare Company coaster out of the way. And this is a book actually that I got. I'll put it over there. Excuse me. A book I got a little while ago. Bamboo pen. I mean, it's just a normal pen, but the body's made out of bamboo. I can't remember where I got this from, but I quite like stationery. A bit sad me, aren't I? Really. I must demonstrate my smart notebook system for you as well. Maybe I'll do that next week, because I've been training to do that for a while. Anyway, that's my bamboo pen. Bamboo noise. But this is a book I discovered, I actually got some time ago. And at the moment it's October in London, and I am going to delve into A Christmas Carol because a version I wrote and directed has been touring the UK and the USA actually for the last 6 years. I've always been a fan of the book ever since I was a kid, or at least I've been a fan of a kid's version of the book. I don't know I've actually ever read the full novel nowadays, which is a bit of a confession, isn't it? But we all know the story. But I thought I'd just share this with you because it caught my attention, and it was in a little bookshop again, I think in Wales. And as you can see, Second World War poems chosen by Hugh Horton, great name, and a very evocative picture on the front. And of course, many people know the First World War poets, the horror of the First World War, the little conflict that was supposed to be over by Christmas, you know. And then Wilfred Owen, of course, who sadly perished just a week before the First World War ended. Excuse me. And Rupert Brooke, whose poem The Soldier is quite sweet. And in fact, I might get that and read that to you soon. It's a bit criticised occasionally now for being a bit kind of British. But if you swap England for any other country, that notion of being brought up in a place and blessed by the winds of the sun of the locality is, I think, universal. But I thought I'd share this with you. And the reason I thought I'd share this with you is that I've not looked at it myself, other than to take it out of the bag. But it's quite well thought of. The Times Literary Supplement, a very venerable organisation, wrote Second World War Poems is a wonderful book to possess. Given its aim and ambitions, it would be hard to ask for a better book. And I'll read this for you as well. I'm always slightly worried about copyright, but I think this is okay. And we're promoting the book, aren't we? Yes, we are. Although I should say, I did buy these. Nothing that you've seen on this channel has been whatever donated or given. There's no commercial stuff. I'm not smart enough for that. But I bought this as well. So let's just look at this. The Second World War has shaped the modern world more than any other single event. This generous and haunting selection of English language and translated poems includes verses written by servicemen who participated in the war. Keith Douglas, Alan Lewis, Randall Jarrell, as well as by survivors and witnesses of the Holocaust. Primo Levi, Nellie Sachs, Paul Keelan, and civilians across Europe and beyond. It features work by important women poets, Elizabeth Bishop, H.D. Anne Akalamova, in exile such as W.H. Auden and Bertolt Brecht, with writers reporting from London, Paris, Warsaw, Moscow and New York, dealing with the terrifying impact and legacy of the conflict. Presented with a historical critical introduction and biographical notes, the result is a vital lyric testimony to the tragic global theatre of the war. And another review here. European, Asian and American poets, traditionalists, modernists and surrealists, combatants, civilians and later generations all get a voice in this attractive book. That's The Guardian. The Sunday Times, a brilliant international reading of total war. It's always something we've got to be aware of, haven't we, really? Yes, the fickleness of mankind sometimes. So I thought we'd just have a quick look. I haven't checked any of the poems yet, so I'll do a little look at the introduction, and then we might just take a couple at random. So this is about the author, or the compiler, Hugh Horton. He's emeritus Professor of Modern Literature at the University of York. Lovely town, York. City, lovely city. He's author of The Poetry of Derek Mahon, 2007. Editor of the Chatto Book of Nonsense Poetry. Sigmund Freud, The Uncanny. And with Valerie Elliott, The Letters of T.S. Eliot, Volumes 1 and 2. So, an academic man, but with an eye to the social. Let's just delve in and have a quick look. Yeah, published in 2004, first of all. And this is a paperback edition, republished in 2023. So let's just have a look at what's in here. Obviously there's the introduction, which we might have a quick look at. And then poetry. Valentin Ackland, Notes on Life at Home, February 1942-44. Well, in the 40th year, The Wind of War, The Lilacs and the Roses, Tapestry of the Great Fear. W.H. Auden, of course, very well-known poet. Refugee Blues. The Shield of Achilles. War poet, Samuel Beckett, yeah, I didn't know that. St. Lowe. Elizabeth Bishop Roosters, North Russian Town Report, and Bertolt Brecht. Bad Time for Poetry. This Summer Sky, and The Friends. There's quite a bit more, isn't there? Song of a German Mother. Wow. War has been given a bad name. Epistle to the Augsburgers. Green it Alagit. Sorry about the pronunciation. I've never seen these before either, so we're sharing it for the first time. Men in Green. Jean Cassot from Sonnets of the Resistance. Conversations in Gibraltar. I won't go through all of them because, as you can see, there's quite a few here. T.S. Eliot. Wow, there we go. Defence of the Islands. Note on War Poetry from Little Guinea. Excuse me. Geoffrey Hill, Randall Joel, The Death of the Ball Turret Gunner, Jews at Haifa, Prisoners, A Lullaby, Mail Call, My Mother Often Wept, oh, Primo Levi, that's kind of cool, Alan Lewis. Wow, there's quite a few, isn't there? C. Day Lewis, Where Are the War Poets? Going Westwards, Death Valley, Neutrality, The Springboard. Yeah, wow. Well, let's kind of push on. Have a quick look. Oh, the myth of Hiroshima. Do you know, I might mention this is not very good to talk about your own writings, but I think I might have mentioned I did a version of Shakespeare's Henry V a few years ago, which got me into this kind of writing mess. And I changed the end, Henry V, because Shakespeare talks about how Henry V's son married the Queen of France, but whose state had so many had to manage him that they lost France and made his England bleed, which oft our stage hath shown. But for your sake, no, but for their sake, in your fair minds, let this acceptance take. From memory, that's the end of Henry V by William Shakespeare. But when I was doing my adaptation, I was looking at the Battle of Agincourt, which Henry V is about. Shakespeare's Henry V, about kingship. Excuse me. And as it was all going on, I went up to my little back bedroom where I was banished. And there was the war in Yugoslavia was going on. And it just occurred to me, I thought, it never ends, does it? So the end of my Henry V, which is a one-person version, I should say, and he's going to be touring the UK next year. It ends. I rewrote the storyteller to make it more modern parlance, really. But it ends. Thank you for your sweet imaginings and for the working of your mind. We thank you. Leave us now, but think on our tale. Just look at the world and muse. How little mankind has learned, and how much we still have to lose. Excuse me. Introduction. Yeah, I'm sorry about doing that, but I'm sorry about the coughing as well. There's flu going around, that's my excuse. Introduction. In the dark times will there be singing. Yes, there will be singing about the dark times. Bertolt Brecht. It has to think about war, and it has to find what will suffice. Wallace Stevens of modern poetry. Just have a quick look at this. I was singing of what the others never set eyes on. Keith Douglas. And as we mentioned already, in most people's minds, war poetry refers to the English poetry of the First World War. And a typical war poet is Wilfred Owen or Siegfried Sassoon. In contrast, the poetry of the Second World War is much more shadowy. Indeed, it has largely been overshadowed by that of the First. The names of Keith Douglas and Alan Lewis still figure as important poets of the 1939-45 war, but their poems certainly didn't circulate like Owen's, Rosenberg's, or Edward Thomas's. The Second World War and the Holocaust will loom large in all our amnesic culture, figuring prolifically in films, television, documentaries, history books and fiction. In contrast, the poetry of the Second World War is almost a dead letter. It has nothing like the same currency as that of the First. This is strange for many reasons, not least because the best poetry written during and about the 1939-45 war is as powerful and compelling as anything written about the previous war. does not have to bother, because inside her there is still another, and that one wasted two. Yet she replies, nothing can tire out nature. Here's another. Fecundity par excellence is here, lying in labour, even better on the bier, I should say, to bed. Maternity is the holiest thing on earth. No man who's prudent as well as wise concerns himself with what is in the skies. Drain deep below the slums another birth, sets angels singing, and other noise you hear may be the warning, may be the all clear. Comfort ye, my people, these reflections should help them die politely who must die. Reconcile those left behind who sigh for loss of children and some near connections. Reflect, there is no need for grief or gloom. Nature has ever another in her womb. Teeming and steaming hordes who helter-skelter stampede the city streets to herd together, angry and scared in dark and wintry weather, above ground still. Fear not, there's one deep shelter, open alike in free and fascist state, vast, private, silent and inviolate. Wow. It does go on, doesn't it? Notes, excuse me, on life at home. It's pretty powerful, isn't it? I'll do one more. Notes on life at home. February 1942. What sounds fetched from far the wind carries tonight? Do you hear them, out where the sheep are huddled on Wintry Hill this cold night? Under the lee of the hill folded, there on the hard earth the wind goes massively over them, burdened with all that has colded 1,000 hearts, emptied 1,000,000 hearts. Slain twice and thrice 1,000,000, over it blows, and like a flood pours into the house under the doors. Rushing like blood out of the dying veins, over the living it pours. And so, like a cunningly channeled flood, empties away, departs, leaving us dirtied with litter of not our own casualties, nor our own hearts. Gosh, quite powerful stuff, isn't it? I won't read all of this, but it's just the opening line: when they come to bury the epoch, not with psalms will they mourn it, but with nettles, with thistles, they will have to adorn it. In the 40th year. So, wow. Well, thank you for sharing that with me. As I say, I've not looked at this book before. It's the first time I've opened it, apart from I read the back when I bought it the other week. Published by Faber and Faber. I might do a little more. Bertolt Brecht, of course, he's in there, just whipped past him. Samuel Beckett. But because of the time, I'll leave it here. I hope you found it of interest. I'm always slightly concerned that if you've got a stimulating book and the whole point of the ASMR is to relax, I'm never quite sure which goes hand in hand with which. But again, thank you so much for your time. And if you haven't subscribed, please do. I think you press the little bell as well. I'm going to be try and be good, and do a little bit more, put a few more videos up, and as I say, we are going to start our Christmas Carol extravaganza very soon. But again, thank you so much for bothering to stay with me if you stayed this long. What do you think of this? Isn't humanity stupid sometimes, but yet also glorious? Anyway, to quote our usual Charles Dickens quote, thank you very much again for being with us. To quote Charles Dickens, bless us all.